Hey everybody, it's Aaron here with Robert, and welcome to Get Your Geek On's review of the HBO Max show, The Last of Us.
Yes, The Last of Us, based on the Naughty Dog video game that came out in 2013,
Yes.
which is so it's 10 years old now, which is crazy.
Right.
And we are talking about the show. We are going to do full spoilers. The season finale, of course, aired on March the 12th. So we're talking full spoilers on this show. And really just wanted to talk about what we liked about the show, if there's anything we wish it did differently, how well it adapted the video game, all those pieces.
Right.
And so obviously, it's brought to us by Neil Druckmann, who was the writer and creator of the video game. And then
Yes.
Craig Mazin was kind of the showrunner as well. And people will know him from the Chernobyl series that HBO did.
Oh yeah.
So, a lot of talent behind the camera. And then, of course, in front of the camera, our two main leads are Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey as Joel and Ellie. And, there's a lot of other people that I'm sure we'll talk about, but, really centers around the two of them. So let's just get into it. Aaron, just without comparing it to the video game, because I know we will get to that. But without doing that, just tell me, how did you feel about the series?
I honestly love this series. I think it's probably so far, of course, we're only first quarter of the new year. It is by far my favorite series to date. And I will say this, it did a great adaptation of the game, not comparing yet, but it did a great adaptation. And I think it was just a solid show. Very little I guess bad episodes or maybe scenes and stuff. I can't think of one off the top of my head. Not like another show that's going on that we've talked about that's having some bad episodes.
I'm not talking about that.
I really enjoyed it. I think Pedro Pascal nailed it. I think Bella Ramsey nailed it. I think our cast in general, even with some of the side characters like Bill and Frank, which is, I forgot his name already.
Nick Offerman plays Bill, and I can't remember who plays Frank.
I mean, just all those people, all the people, the girl who plays Marlene, they're just all amazing cast and crew. And that's one thing I will say HBO has always done, I think, pretty spot on, is gotten an amazing cast and crew to do, whether it's Game of Thrones, whether it's this or whatever they decide to do. Even if the stories aren't great, they still have a great cast. But in this case, the story was perfect almost. The video was just amazing. I want to say gameplay. the video, like the way everything looked, the aesthetics, the clickers, the way they got everything almost down to the T with the look. I think it was just an amazing show to watch. But what about you? I mean, I have the game stuff to always refer back to. So what about you?
I mean, I gotta say this. You mentioned it didn't really have any low episodes or any bad episodes or anything like that. I think week to week, episode to episode, this is one of the strongest seasons of television I've ever seen. Right. Because I feel the same way. There were no down episodes. There were some that were like, this is like the Bill and Frank episode was incredible.
Yeah.
The episode with Sam and his brother, and I'm blanking on the name now.
Oh, yeah, the older brother, yeah.
Those two, like, that was an incredible episode. Of course, the finale was incredible. Like there was so much that was like incredible, and then the rest of it was like, man, this is still really, really good. So there were no down episodes. I loved the structure of it, where we got different looks at the past at different times, whether it was a flashback to Outbreak Day, which I know is how like the game starts with Joel and Sarah and his family, but we fleshed that out. But even like, even that first episode starting with like a news, show in like the 50s where they're talking about what could potentially happen. Looking at Outbreak Day, in, I think it was like Thailand, Indonesia. Or Indonesia. Yeah, Indonesia, where the, outbreak officially started in this world. Seeing the look at that, seeing flashbacks to various characters, when Ellie got bitten, or, when, Ellie was born in this final episode. Like, I loved the structure of like seeing those things contrasted with, you know, what the present day circumstances were, thought it worked really well. The storyline, of course, and we talked about this, I think, on one of our episodes of Talking Geek, was, you know, as you see Joel at the beginning, you know, when before Outbreak, and then you see him, you know, 20 years later. And it's kind of his journey of getting back to the stage he was before the outbreak, of, you know, kind of having, you know, this openness to, you know, to loving again, if you will, and his journey. And you've got on the other side, you've got, you know, Ellie really, you know, having, it's just a journey of lost innocence for her. It's, you know, everything that, you know, and who she is, and seeing that, you know, flashback with her and Riley, where, you know, like we see her trauma, that's the true beginning of her trauma. And then when you contextualize that with where she meets Joel and how she is at the beginning of their journey, like she's still, like the way she's able to function even with that trauma, like it's like, wow, this is incredible. But then trauma just keeps building and building and building. So by the time you get to this final episode, you know, she is totally beaten down by all this trauma, and Joel now is trying to pull her back. And it was just a beautiful story, a beautiful way they're sold, and the ending. And I know I didn't know what was going to happen before it happened,
and I didn't tell you anything.
And so the way it ended, number one, you know, as it was unfolding, I was like, oh, this is where it's going. But I didn't expect that. Like prior to that episode, that is not where I expected it to go. And I did then do a little bit of a rabbit hole afterwards where, you know, I know that this is kind of a controversial ending, or not maybe controversial, but just a debated ending, where people are like, you know, what choice should Joel have made? What should he have done? And all those things. And what I love about the show, and probably the game too, is it's done such a good job of establishing why Joel makes the choice he does. Whether we agree with his choice or not, we know why he's done it. And this whole show, and I mean, we've had this conversation before, you and I, whether it was offline or in other recorded conversations. This whole show is about choosing love. Right? We choose love, you know, Frank and Bill choosing love, you know, all those things. And so the fact that this final choice is him choosing love, but in an incredibly selfish way, it blew my mind. I loved it. I loved it.
And I love how you mentioned the debate, because that's always been a debate since the ending of the video game. And for those who, you know, if you've watched the show, hopefully if you watched the show, if you listen to this part,
we're talking spoilers.
Joel basically murks everybody. Doesn't care who they are, and just rescues Ellie because you find out that they have to basically kill her to possibly find the cure, because they have to go inside her brain and remove the parts that they need, which inevitably is going to kill her. I mean, there's no doubt about that. And first of all, dumb doctor bringing a knife to a gunfight. I'm not gonna let you take her. Yeah, you done. Like that was dumb,
I loved how quickly he did that, and just emotionless. It's like he does not, all of these people he killed in that hospital, it's like he does not care at all, because the only person that matters to him is Ellie.
So I want to say, I mean, I know, you know, none of us are in that predicament, so we can't say what we would do. I agree with Joel's decision 110%. What about you? Are you on the other side, or are you with Joel?
It's so hard, because like, how can you make that choice? I mean, I think back to an episode of TV, and I'm going to go down a little bit of a weird line here, but I think back to like an episode of TV that came out when I was in high school, which is just stuck with me for this whole time, which is, you know, the show House, about the doctor, which, you know, a lot of people love, and I think it's a great show. And there's a particular episode where a pregnant mother is dying, and they're very religious. And it basically comes down to, you either have to have an abortion, or you know, you'll die. Like those are your choices. And you know, and of course Dr. House is like, it's a fetus, it's not a baby, just kill it and save your life. Like, this is the easiest decision in the world. That's his perspective on it. But then if you look
calculated, right? That's the whole thing with House.
Well, yeah, and he's just like, he doesn't believe in religion, you know, all that stuff. He's, you know, in his view, we have a life of a mother versus a life of a fetus, which isn't, it's not alive yet. Just you know, just take care of it. And you know, and then you have, again, on the other side, you have this very religious family, and you have, you know, this father and mother or the soon-to-be father and mother, trying to make this decision. And of course, the pregnant woman is very adamant. She does not want an abortion, even if it results in her death. If there's even a chance that her baby will survive, which basically is what she's doing, is that every day that I survive, my baby has a better chance of surviving. So I'm going to keep fighting against this illness, but I'm not going to terminate and whatever like that. And, and it's like, you totally understand that. And of course the dad is torn, because he's got to choose between his wife or his unborn child. Like, how can you make that choice? And that's where it gets to by the end of the episode, is I think the mom like slips into a coma. And at that point, House is like pressuring the dad to do the abortion, because he's like, now it's not her decision anymore. Now it's your decision. And it's just one of those things that stuck with me for 20 years, is how could you possibly make that choice, right? How could you choose? And in that instance, I feel pretty confident. I would say I'm going to choose my wife over an unborn child. But in this scenario, this Joel scenario where you're talking about, like, I have a child who he views her as his daughter. That is his daughter. And it's save her or let her die, and potentially, it's not even a certainty, potentially humanity will be able to recover. And I think if I'm Joel and I've seen everything that humanity is, and you say like humanity at the, when the chips were down, this is humanity became. We became fascists. We became murderers and rapists and all these things. Like, when the chips are down, this is what humanity is. I'm saving Ellie. And so I totally 100% understand his decision. I don't know that I could make a choice. Like, you're trying to put that on me, saying, which one would you choose? I don't know that I could make that choice, but I totally understand. I mean, that is the choice where you would make, I'm going to save my child.
And I'm the same way. I know, like, that's the debate. I would have sided with Joel on this one. Again, that we have, and you see all of these bad things, like you mentioned, in this series. We see the cannibals, we see pedophiles, we see men who are willing to do acts. I'm not going to say the word because I don't want us to get really banned.
I think I already said it. So
maybe. So I have to go back and listen. So we have all this. We show how evil they are. And at the very beginning of the series, because I've been rewatching it because a friend's watching it, and I was just like, I'll watch it with you. He even says, I've heard the story a dozen times. They've said it. Oh, this is going to be the miracle thing. Oh, this person's going to save it. So he's already has this bad image of them. But at the end of the day, it's about choosing her. I mean, if at the end of the day, screw the world. F it. Like, I don't care. As long as she's able. And that was Marlene's whole conversation. Somebody's going to do something to her. Something's going to happen. Well, I'll protect her as long as I can. And I'm going to, in the games, of course, he's going to train her to take care of herself. So that way those things don't happen. And I loved it when he shot Marlene. I love the second shot, I think, the best, because it was like, please wait, let me live. Nah, you're going to come take her anyway. Oh, right in the head. Just done. It was
one of those moments that if he had spared her, it wouldn't have been true to his character.
Exactly.
And so it's one of those moments where you go, this is who Joel is. He's already made this choice. He's already made the choice that I am saving her no matter what the cost. And so if he's already made that choice, he's going to follow through on that choice, including lying to Ellie about what happened.
Now,
because he is not going to let that burden be on her. And and he's going to say, no, I mean, it's, I'm going to take this burden on. I know the truth, but I'm not going to let her know the truth. And, whether or not she believes him, I think is up for debate. And I'm sure that will become a point in, future seasons when, that will become a point of conflict between the two of them. But at least for this season, I thought it was just beautiful.
And that's where I was been a little bit more different than Joel. I would have killed everybody in the building. Just so there's no witnesses. Like the nurses, he was like, turn around. I'd have blown their heads off right there. I'd be like, bam, bam, bam. Oh, you back there, bam. And I just shot everybody. So there's no one to tell the tale of what happened. It's just, like he said, somebody, raiders attacked and they murked everybody. That sucks. I got out because I'm a badass and I'm a beast.
And I got you out.
I got you out.
There's lots of other people that have this thing going on, and they, what, they gave up. There's no cure, and they're not even going to try anymore. And I mean,
I would have murked everybody.
It's a semi-convincing story, even knowing the truth, where you go like, could Ellie buy this? She's unconscious for this whole thing. Could she buy this? And I think deep down, she probably knows that's not what happened. But I think
so
that
too.
she wants to believe it so bad. She, you know, like I think back to that moment. I think back to that moment when they were in Jackson, and you know, she was talking to Tommy's wife, and she said the only people that can betray you are the ones you trust. And I think that I was
that seed of doubt.
I was just not expecting it to play out that way, where it's like Joel technically is the one that betrayed her.
Technically,
he has betrayed what she wanted to do. I mean, they have that conversation earlier in the episode, which is like, I don't want this to all be for nothing. Like and even Marlene says it, like if we were to ask her, what would she say? Now, that is the point where you go, like, as Marlene, it's like, you could have asked her. You could have told her.
You could have.
You chose not
her
to
the
also.
truth too. Yeah.
Right. So it's not just, you know, Joel that is lying and betraying Ellie. I mean, you know,
it was everybody.
Yeah, and so again, I just thought the show was beautiful. In terms of adapting the game, obviously, I don't have a history in there, but for you,
it was perfect to me. This
okay.
Go ahead. No, I was gonna say
I was. All I was gonna say is the only thing I wish they had done is in the later episodes, we really moved away from the threat of the cordyceps, you know, people. And I understand why, but I just wish there had been maybe one or two more scenes where they had to fight off some, and especially maybe even in this last episode, like just one more battle with them before they get to the Fireflies, you know, something like that. Like I think it would have landed really well and really shown that this threat, you know, shown why it's so important to Ellie to follow through on this. You know, like I think we were missing just that one little thing. So even though I think it was like an amazing series, I think there was maybe one missed opportunity.
I agree with you on that. I think the clickers didn't get enough in there. And again, that is a trope for most zombie films. It's not so much the zombies that are the threat, it's other humans that are the threat at the end of the day. And that's going to be true I feel like if that does happen, it is going to be humans we have to watch out for. But the scenes that were in there were perfect, especially I think episode 8. Again, episode 1 hit me hard. Episode 8 hit me just as hard because there's, you know, this preacher who's supposed to be a man of God and all this, and he's trying to do something to Ellie that, you know, should not be done. And when she just repeatedly stabs him, I was like, oh my gosh, brutal. Like that it was. And then to get the hug from Joel, like she's ready to fight Joel still because she's still in that mindset of survival. Mm-hmm. And I think Bella Ramsey did a great job of portraying that, like, I'm still in that fight mode. I'm still get away. And then the calm, like when she realizes this is Joel, this is Pedro Pascal, and the calm that comes over, and you could tell she just wants to cry, just wants to be held.
I mean, the two of them just were incredible performers. I mean, there's some moments that stick with me. You know, like when again in the episode with the brothers, when he shoots himself, and Bella Ramsey, you know, Ellie's little like cry of like, like it just it still gets me. It's like, it was so good. Tough. And every time that she has like her laugh or whatever, like it's just you know that she's still got that little girlish quality to her, even like, you know, having gone through all this trauma and stuff. So again, the show was beautiful. It was great. So, definitely, if you haven't watched it, you need to. I don't know why you watched this whole video without watching.
Without that,
it's amazing.
So wrapping it up, what's your rating of it?
9 out of 10. It was amazing.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. 9 out of 10. Yeah. I mean, like you said, I think having a little bit more of the clickers would have been perfect, but overall, go check it out, guys. Make sure you watched everything and check out everything else we do at official GYGO on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, etc. And on that note, I'm Aaron, and that's Robert. Stay geeking. Get your geek on, guys.
Bye.